about the rest of the world? We'd be pretty arrogant to assume that stuff only lands here. I'm pretty sure there's been some crashes in the USSR and perhaps India and who knows, maybe other countries, Iran or other countries that we may not be so fond of. What about things we may not know that they might have learned? You can't rule that out from the realm of possibility. It would be pretty stupid to just think that we're the only ones that might have gained something from this whole encounter.
I think it's happened worldwide. Again, my friend who's no longer with us, Art, on his show, he had from South Africa, a brigadier general. It was a brigadier general. Basically, he went out with his helicopter crews to, something they didn't realize what it was, and it turned out to be a down UFO. And, Art believed the guy 100%. Because, his credentials were there. He was a brigadier general in the South African military, all this stuff in special ops and all this stuff. And the guy was telling people, and guess who came and got it? The United States.
I was just going to say, air cab?
Yeah. Yeah, we picked it up for him.
That makes sense. We are the most qualified, after all, and have the most resources and advanced equipment to do an operation like that. There are accounts of other countries attempting to retrieve crashed objects and having, of course, dire consequences in the process, most notably the incident in Cayame, Mexico, where reportedly up to 30 military personnel from the Mexican Army perished while trying to load a dish-shaped craft that collided with an aircraft onto a trailer truck. And apparently we'd been monitoring the whole operation, and when our satellites made a pass over and photographed what appeared to be lots of bodies laying on the ground, we sent in our team to clean up the evidence and pick up the pieces and bring them back to the U.S. You got to figure there's a lot of things involved with these technologies that you don't want to just blindly walk into and think you're going to pick the stuff up and truck it off somewhere.
Yeah.
First of all, anything that spends a significant time in space is going to have quite a dose of radiation accompanying it. So you're going to definitely want to approach anything like that with caution first offhand, not to mention what other exotic materials, of course, might emanate from it, be it gases, vapors, radiations, electromagnetic type forces that you don't understand, any number of things that would adversely affect the human body. Famous case of note, although I do not think the origin is extraterrestrial, I think it's more man-made, but the Cash Landrum incident, where they were driving and came across a diamond-shaped craft that was shooting flames out the bottom towards the roadway, and of course, getting out of the car to look at an object like that and feeling heat, extreme heat, should have been one warning sign right there. But then the next day, of course, this had all the effects of severe radiation, which I think, due to the fact that there were many helicopters that seemed to chaperone the object away, very well indicates that it was probably some type of black project or experimental atomic type craft being used or in development at the time. And still, of course, there's been no acknowledgement that it's ever been of American origin, but of course, they paid quite a price with their health by getting out and being exposed to such a dosage of radiation from that object. And I definitely caution all my field investigators, to not approach anything too blindly like that. The first thing you're going to want to have in front of you anytime you go out to investigate any type of a situation like that, make sure you have a Geiger counter, please.
I would think
at the very least, at least a Geiger counter.
Yeah, you don't want to shorten your life in a matter of, minutes to days, if you touch something that's kind of hot.
Yeah, and I don't know, have you seen that HBO series, the real short series Chernobyl?
No, I have not.
That it's so mind blowing. I recommend it to everyone if you get a chance to watch it. But the effects of radiation, I don't think a lot of people realize how serious it is. And wow, you look at that, and it really hits home just exactly what the effects of radiation are on the human body. And it's the one word that I can say that best describes it is devastation, complete devastation to the human body.
Well, you are so right, Jeff. Look what we did in the South Pacific when we detonated over a bunch of ships, a nuclear device, and we had sailors, with their goggles watching it. Or in Nevada, where they, before they started doing the detonations underground, would be detonating these nuclear devices and having servicemen watch it. And then they would monitor.
Well, I can remember a couple times being in Vegas and being advised to not go outside the hotel room as a child because there was nuclear testing going on that day. And, that's pretty wild. Oh, okay, let's not go outside today because it's a little heavy on the nuke today.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, really?
Now, I want to touch.
Really?
I want to touch base about a lot of hoaxers that either they don't realize they're hoaxing or they are hoaxing purposely on the media. There is, here's something's going on. There's somebody doing videos of UFOs all around Las Vegas, around the hillsides, the mountains. I had that individual on my show. I'm not calling him a hoaxer, okay? Because maybe he doesn't know what he's doing with his camera. But, again, I made a lot of phone calls. One was to the FAA. And I asked him, I said, okay, there's a guy doing this, showing videos quite often, a couple times a month, UFOs around Las Vegas. If there was UFOs from Las Vegas, what would happen? The first thing they told me, they would shut down the international airport. That would be the very first thing.
Yeah.
And then the military would be involved. And then they gave me a number for the control tower there at the Las Vegas International Airport. So I talked to one of the radar operators up there in the control tower. They told me the same thing. If there was real UFOs around here, they wouldn't allow any flights to come in or take off. It'd be a shutdown. So they gave me...
And there'd be someone checking it out ASAP.
Oh, yeah. Then they gave me the number to the Air Force Base. I called them and talked to their media person, and they said, look, I'm going to tell you two things. One is if there were UFOs around there, we would shut the airspace down. We would dispatch our fighters to investigate it. Then they said, well, you know what? Did you know it was quite around there. They were detonating all the way up to, I think, the late 50s, nuclear devices. And what they do have is the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has helicopters several times a month going around the mountaintops around there and the hillsides around Las Vegas, checking for radiation to monitor its travel.
Yeah.
And I watched the guys' videos of these UFOs, and to me, with my software, because I'm into photography and have been since I was a kid, I bring it into certain software and I look at it and it's clearly a helicopter. I mean, you see it coming to a stop, which that's what I was told they would do. They would come to a stop, check radiation, then go to another area, check it, and continue on. And a helicopter, when it comes stationary, when it stops being stationary and it goes to take off, has a nosedive slightly, and then it levels up and goes.
Sure, make that little dip.
Oh, yeah. I've been on a lot of them in the military. I know. Okay? And that, what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure you get people sending you stuff like this and with Mufon, or you hear about it. How do you feel about it?
Well, been researching UFOs most of my life, Gary. And I knew before I ever got into it with Mufon what I was getting into. I know that it's one of the more disinformation, hoaxified, muddied-watered fields one could possibly try and find any sort of explanation in. So I was prepared for the onslaught of some of the stuff I would be presented with. But, oh my God, some of the videos I've been sent, sir, are just out of this world. And the photos, too. I mean, people must think that we are just plain stupid, some of the stuff they send in, and try and pass off as being a real event. And, some of them, you could tell the difference between someone who doesn't understand what they photograph and really believes it could have an otherworldly connection, or someone who maybe might have some kind of, medical type condition going on that would lend them to want to see something like that, or the other type of personality who's just plain old slinging BS. They want you to buy it, and they want you to pay them money for their video.
Uh-huh.
And there's a prevalence of that type more now than there has been, say, 5 years ago. And a lot of that, I got to give credit to YouTube for it. They've been one of the best spreaders of bad UFO videos in the world.
Well, followed up by
I have to advise people, don't do your research on YouTube.
Or Facebook.
Or, oh God, especially, social media should be taken for what it is, and a lot of people spend way too much time a day there and put way too much credence into the information they get there. And I know a lot of people, I catch them at it, they think the headline is the full story, and they'll go and tell you something is a fact because they read the headline, yet they didn't go deeper into the story to understand, well, maybe that was a satirical headline.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jeff, I have the last break for can you hang on for the last 25 minutes of the show?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back with Jeff. And I got a couple more questions on that. Then I want to move on to what's going on, you think, now with UFOs. So we'll be back with Jeff in about 2 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio, and we're on 1380 AM, 105.3 FM, and a lot of stations across the country. We'll be back.
You thirst for some significance of the both dimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway, and your psyche begins to spark. When you tune in to Gary Anderson and Night Dreams After Dark.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.